I always find that the hardest part of the holiday period is the aftermath of the holiday period, because now you have to sort of get back into a routine. You have to get back into a normal schedule, and especially when you have things like marathon training or any sort of training coming up, it means you have to sort of, you have to get up and get out there, and it's just that much more difficult because you've been out of the routine. So my company closes over the Christmas period. I work for an engineering consultancy, so yeah, engineering just doesn't happen typically in the UK, as far as I know, over the holiday period. So all the companies close, and that means I have nothing to sort of anchor my day, and which means I don't really have to get up at a certain time. I don't really have to do things at a certain time anymore, because I can just do them whenever I want, whenever I can fit them in during the day, and that makes getting back into the rhythm of it when the company reopens and I'm now working again even more difficult. And this is something I've always struggled with, and I kind of like feel guilty for it, because it's just like you start the new year with all this like hope and ambition, but you spend the first few days just tired, and it's kind of counterintuitive. But it's something I'm kind of learning to sort of just get over it. It's kind of like, it's a process of, it's fine to take a week off for occasions like that, and then just carrying on whenever you can, because there is a level of discipline involved, yes, but there's also a level of like living life, and you gotta live life sometimes, and the goal is to try not to be too hard on yourself, and that's something I'm still trying to work through. But yeah, it does definitely make times like this significantly harder. I had to do some anaerobic training yesterday for my running and for my marathon training, and I almost threw up twice, once during and one after. And then even this morning in the gym, like I couldn't even complete the full body workout just because I was so fatigued and so tired, because my body was used to going to sleep so much later, and waking up so much later. So now that I wake up earlier to try and go gym before work, it doesn't always work out. But that's okay. That's just something we sort of have to take in our stride and just keep going. It is quite a nice evening, even if it is absolutely freezing. But this courtyard is always quite nice to walk into. It's one of my favourite parts about living here. Yeah, it's always quite well kept. And in summer, there's a little bit of water here, and they let it's like a bit of a water fountain that comes from each side, which is always pretty cool to see. So I take a few supplements as a runner. So the first one, of course, is cod liver oil with vitamin D. I'm South Asian, living in Great Britain, and especially in the winter months, we don't get much sunlight here. And anyone from South Asia can attest to the fact that Asia is well full of sunlight. So, and just because we have darker complexions, typically we don't absorb sunlight as well to begin with, and coupling that with the fact that there's just less hours of sunlight, it's more cloudy here a lot of the time, we don't get as much vitamin D as we normally should. Cod liver oil as a thing is just good for nerve function. It's good for like cognitive function, vision. It's supposed to be good for a whole bunch of things. Oh, it actually says here, supports brain, heart, vision, bones, muscles, and immunity function, which is pretty much everything a supplement should be. I also take magnesium. This magnesium actually comes with zinc. I have no idea what zinc does, but it's good to have extra stuff sometimes. I take magnesium for 2 reasons. Again, it's good for nerve function, but it's also mainly a good supplement to help with sleep and getting deep sleep. And I think a lot of people are, I don't quite remember the numbers, but I think a lot of people are magnesium deprived. We don't have sufficient levels of magnesium that we would normally get from our diet, from our water sources and that sort of stuff. So I mainly use it as a supplement to help with deep sleep. Iron, gentle iron. I think it's just, it's less intense. But gentle iron I take because it helps with digestibility. But iron as a thing is more because it's good for red blood cell production. And as anyone who, again, likes to do cardio, likes to do a lot of aerobic stuff, I think iron becomes an important supplement. It's also secreted in sweat a lot of the time, so it's something that should be replenished from time to time. And then I have vitamin B complex. And I take this because I do eat a lot of... I'm not completely vegan, I'm not completely plant-based, but I try to have a skewed diet towards eating more plant-based stuff. So I don't eat as much meat-based products as, the typical person. And that's where you get a lot of the vitamin Bs from. So especially B12, I know B12 is a big supplement in the plant-based community. So yeah, that's primarily why I take the vitamin B complex. This is all the vitamin Bs, not just B12. But I figured, why not? I don't think, again, not a medical professional, but I don't think there's any harm in taking more. It is currently Saturday morning. I am drinking coffee before I go for my run. Drinking coffee and reading, because it's good to read. This is typically how I start most of my mornings on the weekend before I do my workout, whatever it is that I'm doing that day. Today it's actually a anaerobic training session. I don't know if the camera's aligned there. So yeah, I just warm up. I do some, high velocity runs intervaled with slow paces in between. I do it 8 times. So that should be good. It's to get my pace up. So hopefully that should be a good run. I really enjoy these because they're quite challenging, but I also hate them because they're also very tiring, or they can be very tiring. But yeah, let's hope it's a good run for today. So I was on my way to my family home to say goodbye to some family that was staying over during the Christmas period, that were going back to Australia that evening. So it was my uncle and 2 of his daughters. I never met one of the daughters, the younger one. The older one I met for the first time a few years ago, and I hadn't seen my uncle in about a decade now. So yeah, it's just moments like that. It was quite cool to sort of see them and just meet them and get to know them again, because it's interesting to see how people change, with time. It'd been quite a few years, and I think from my uncle's perspective, at least, it was interesting for him to see how we've sort of grown into young adults versus when we were teenagers. So I previously mentioned, let me take these off. So I previously mentioned in a separate video that I was doing a bunch of cloud courses based in Azure. A few exams coming up. I actually got quite ill during the period where the exam was meant to be set, so I had to move it. And the exam center only allows certain dates, so I had to move it back quite a few weeks. So I'm currently relearning a lot of the stuff, because I have forgotten it, to be honest. It has been a few weeks, and during the Christmas period I didn't really look at it at all. So I'm going over the content again. 1, partly to relearn it, and 2, to revise it because the exam is in a couple of weeks. It is currently the evening. I have been doing this a couple of hours now. But yeah, I will be eating dinner and then maybe going to meet some friends at a flat that is not too far from here, depending on how much progress I make with this, because I want to make a reasonable amount of progress before I leave this evening, because I think I've put it off long enough. But we'll see how it goes. It's raining. Oh no, look, the snow actually settled. Wow. Yeah. Like snow. Nice. Snow is always cool.
Oh, he's shivering. Look at that.
So I was supposed to run this morning, however there is a current storm going on outside. It's supposed to clear up in the evening, so hopefully I can run in the evening. I prefer to run in the morning, just on an empty stomach and stuff. It just feels a lot better for me. I feel lighter. Yeah, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. But yeah, so we've decided to go to brunch instead, which is probably not the best idea in this weather. However, there is, because I don't own a car, but I have a Zipcar membership. So Zipcar in London is essentially, it's like a Lime bike system. For those people that know what Lime bike is, probably not smart to give an analogy with another thing that people might not know what it is. But anyway, there's an app and you book the car and you can drop off the car in anywhere that's a blue zone within the map. So I live in one of the blue zones on the map, so I can just pick up a car that's close by, in close proximity, and then I can drive it and then just drop it off, so long as other places also in the blue zone. And most of the time it covers most of London, which is pretty good. So yeah, we're going to do that instead, to avoid getting wet. The place is not too far, it's about a 10-15 minute drive, so yeah, should be pretty good. Yeah. So I spent the rest of today mostly commuting, because I went to pop in to see a friend who works in Switzerland, and they were local for a few days just because of the Christmas period. So I popped over to another friend's place because they're a friend of a friend. That's how we originally met. And we just hung out, played some games for a bit. You can see some nice aesthetic videos of my commute on the bus though, because it was quite rainy, but because I got to read a bit as well, it was quite nice. But then after seeing them for a couple of hours, I went to see my girlfriend's parents, and we got dinner at an Asian place in Chinatown, which was quite good. And on the way, I still noticed that there were quite a few Christmas lights up, which is a really weird dichotomy, because I see Christmas lights up, but if you go into a lot of shops, a lot of grocery stores now, you see Easter eggs as well. And it's like, I feel like there's always some holiday that needs to perpetuate throughout the culture. Yeah, I just thought it was quite weird. But other than that, we got some dessert after. It was around the Chinatown area. So we got some, I think it's Japanese style souffle pancakes. We also got some, like, I think it's like a bubble tea purple rice drink, which was pretty good. Yeah, and just walked around Chinatown for a bit before heading back home for the evening. And that is, I guess, the end of my weekend. It is actually Monday morning now. I didn't actually get to run yesterday. I didn't get time, and which sucks, because I told myself I wouldn't skip any more runs in the new year, and then I skipped one. But from today, no workouts will get skipped, I hope. Which gives me exactly 1 day less than 10 weeks to the marathon, so hopefully that goes well. But in any case, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.